Hello. Thank you for joining us at As the World Burns for our second edition today of the, excuse me, Mothers of the Apocalypse month. Happy Mother's Day to all of us doom and gloom moms. And today we have Courtney with us. I am so excited to talk to you. Thank you for showing up and being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Uh,
excited.
Absolutely. You have the one series that I am absolutely in love with is the Sundown series. You did such an amazing job. It was, I think, one of the first full series that I actually was able to read that was indie author full series. Um, and I am absolutely you first of all, I'm in love with your whole writing technique. You were able to bring characters to life, make them realistic. And then you're like, on one hand, it's, their upbringing was a problem when they were growing up, but now it's saving their butts. So, pretty much the Sundown series. Give us a rundown of the Sundown series, and then we'll talk about you've got two strong women in there. Yeah, give me a
Yeah.
rundown.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So the Sundown series it's a 6 book with there's a novella in there, so I guess 7, but a series that's based on a family. And yeah, so like you mentioned, their upbringing. So it's 3 siblings, it's
Mhm,
Alex, Rafe, and Max in that age order.
mhm.
And they were raised by a prepper father. Their mother had passed away with the birth of Max, and he kind of in some of the flashbacks during the series, you kind of learn that he regressed into society,
Himself.
basically himself.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to be part of like society, and he raised his children as that. And so they went through a lot of hardships that didn't seem normal for teenagers and young children, and they rebelled somewhat. Some of them were, one of them rebelled a little bit. One, kept living their life that way. It was kind of like they were stuck in that, but they tried to assimilate with regular society as they became adults. So yeah.
Yeah. Such an amazing series.
Well,
And
thank you.
oh my God, anybody who hasn't read it, you guys are missing out and you suck. But
I
I
appreciate
am,
that.
yeah, no, I'm serious. This series really just had me thinking and it kind of kicked my butt into gear for prepping because and of course, yeah, we talk about dystopia, we talk about post-apocalyptic stuff. And a lot of times I'm getting zombies, zombie authors and stuff like that. And, but for me, do I believe zombies are going to happen? No. I'm getting ideas from you amazing authors that are indie on how to do what might work in certain areas. These guys are based in what state?
Well, so their home compound is in
The home
Montana,
compound. Yeah.
but and so Alex is the oldest, and she's in Las
Hmm.
Vegas, Nevada. The youngest is Max, and she is in the Carolinas, and then Rafe does still live in Montana, so he
Yeah.
lives on the compound. Yeah.
Yeah, he just kept it going and kept
Mhm.
up with the farm. And I he seemed like the very quiet type.
Mhm. He's the quiet,
Just
strong type. Yeah.
go with the flow, yeah. The girls, however, since this is for Mother's Day month, we have Alex and Max, and they both have extremely different ways of being because they're both mothers in
Mhm.
the apocalypse. Alex is, a very nurturing mom. She takes care of the kids. She's got young kids.
Mhm.
And Max is she loves her child. She loves her kid. She's just very, I don't want to say militant, but she's like, you know what you need to do when I look at you and tell you this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just to me, it was like that's like, is there a balance? Or I mean, because both of them are super strong women. Both of them, I mean, Alex was just, she was the epitome of first child. You nailed her.
Yeah.
Are you a first child? Are
I
you the
am a first
oldest?
child.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I am the oldest of my family, and I will admit, so I wrote prepared. It's been over 7 years.
Hmm.
I wrote prepared that was the very first complete novel I was ever able to finish. And people that have known me from childhood on have read it, and they're like, this sounds a lot like you. I'm not a prepper per se. I am not like that. But when it comes to children and things like that, I am a very maternal, nurturing mother. I had, at the time, I do have 3 kids, but they were much younger, obviously 7 years ago. And so when I wrote Alex, I do think I wrote her more from my perspective of how I am as a mom, just because, and I should go back and say that the whole reason that Prepared was ever like born, the story of it was the idea of what would I do if everything fell apart. I have 3 young kids and obviously my husband. And then I had been having a conversation with a friend that lives on the East Coast. And we said, how would we find each other? Like, what would we do? And that was where the Sundown plan was born.
Wow.
So, so it was actually I added zombies for the fun of it because zombies are just fun.
Zombies are fun.
I like them. I mean, I know that, people go back and forth on the genre, but I love just the monster aspect of having zombies involved. But so when I wrote Alex, I wanted her to be very put together. She didn't live so much her dad's teachings, but yet she did still have a closet full of canned foods or things like that. Like she did still do things. Her husband used to tease her about it, but made sure she had the ability to prep in ways that she felt like she needed to. And so she's not completely prepared, for the fall or any of those things, but she knows what she's supposed to do and she moves forward to do that. And so, her kids are pretty young. And so that definitely changes the dynamic of how you're going to survive if you have little kids.
My children are not young. Mine are grown. Okay. But me reading this book, holy shit, lady, I was having panic attacks. Edge of my seat. I was like, what in the hell is she going to do? These kids are so little. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. And I'm reading it on my phone, so I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I don't know. What is she going to, it was stressful. It was stressful, Courtney.
Well, one of the
How
things
did
I tried
you
to
feel writing it?
Well, scared sometimes, but I tried to think about real life, like, so there's a time in the book where her oldest child, Billy, or daughter, gets strep throat. It's something that she gets often. And so Alex is well aware of what she needs to take care of her, but she doesn't have it. And so it's like the typical real life things. We think about the apocalypse and we think things like illness, like regular illness are not going to happen anymore. Well, no, they still are.
Right.
And so as I was writing it, I thought as a mom, like what do I see my kids going through? Right. Like, whether it's an illness or they fall and scrape their hand and their knees, or they can't run to keep up with you, so things like that. I really did put myself in those positions of thinking, like, how would I handle that as a mom? It's scary.
Yeah, it was very scary. I'm so mad at you for that.
Well, there's a few things that I can promise you, and I can promise anybody that reads my books, there's a few things I'll never do. I'll never kill a kid. So if there's a kid that's in my books that is a character, there may be zombie children, like I might mention them, but I will never allow a child to die I just can't do it. As a mom, it is not within me to write that. So I just can't do it. So that'll never happen. Yeah. And I'll never kill a dog. That's the other thing I was told very early on. Don't kill the animals.
Yeah, I was told that, but
oh, did you do it?
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
I do have a dog in one of the stories, that ends up in the series, and everyone was like, I love this animal. You better not kill this animal. I'm like, okay.
Was it a German Shepherd?
No, a husky, because I actually have a husky, so I thought it was quite funny. But my husky's an idiot, so
yeah, they're either extremely smart Houdinis or they're the biggest derps on the planet.
Mine's
I got 3 German Shepherds, and I wrote a German Shepherd in, and I'm like, okay, so a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois is probably a husky might be number 3 most popular dogs written into books.
Yeah.
What is something that, like, that would just, would you still have put the husky in there? Or would you have changed the breed? Or anything that you would change?
Oh gosh. The
Because I
Sundown
know sometimes
series.
I sit there and I look at my books and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have used that.
I mean, words, there's certain words that I would have changed. I'm actually going through prepared right now and doing a new edit on it. It's not going to change the story or anything like that. It's just editing some
Uh-huh.
things that I hadn't edited originally. The thing is for me, and this is more of the technicality around writing, when I started writing prepared, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, I was really out there testing and learning as I went. And so by the time I got to Ruination, which is the last book of the series, my writing was so much more improved. It was so much more on par with what I really wanted to write.
Hmm.
I feel like my readers have been gracious to stick with me because Prepared is a great story. I love it. But
It's amazing.
when I go back and read it, I'm just like, my writing got better. It's not that the story's bad. It's not that the characters are bad. It's just the quality of the writing got better. And so I love that
You
story
crack me
though. I
up.
really do. I love the
It
characters.
is.
I
Yes, you did
mean,
so good. I'm just like, I'm
yeah.
sitting there, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, my story sounds like a YA book.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
I'm
Stop.
like,
Well, the
I'm like,
YA is needed too.
I
So
could, yeah, and I don't want that, but I could picture every single scene and Alex and her, I could feel her intensity when she was like, oh my God, these kids, but I could also feel her being scared for her children. And, and as parents, we're just, you never stop worrying. My kids are grown. I'm about to have a 28-year-old in June. Okay.
oh
So,
girl,
yeah,
I'm not looking
tw-
forward to any of that.
28. And then my youngest is 23. He
Oh
just
gosh.
turned 23. So it's like, you don't stop worrying. I
Mhm.
worry on the daily, but it's trying to not be that helicopter parent, like, hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Everything good? 15 times a day. I still, we talk often, but I give them their space to live.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
just, I just sit there and I think because we write end of the world, I sit there and I think, oh shit, I don't have a plan because two of my kids are back in Ohio and one is
oh
out here,
yeah.
one is out here with me in Arizona. So
See,
I'm
that would
like,
make me nervous.
yeah, and trust me, it does, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, shit, I don't know, I know one of them, their car is not going to make it out here. So
Right.
I got to
Yeah.
grab the other one, and I don't even know if she's going to come with me because she's got a boyfriend, so it's like there's at a different part of my life than, having young kids and just being able to put them in the car and tell them we're going.
Mhm.
Um, is this, I mean, I know you have the Babysitter of the Apocalypse, which is kind of like a tag along, or is this
Well,
something, or is
it
that
will
something totally different?
it's completely different. I
Okay.
will eventually tie them in a little bit. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have some character cameos just for fun for people that have
Yeah.
been with me for so many years. It's just but it is the same universe. It is a separate situation, and I went vastly different because I went from Alex, who is this nurturing and
Yeah.
lovely mom and knows how to take care of her kids, knows what their needs
She
are,
just
to
knows
she just
exactly.
knows. And then to go to my new series where she's not a mom, she ends up with two children that are not hers. They're actually
Mm.
even younger than the Sundown series kids. And she's got to figure it out. And she's a borderline alcoholic. So,
Oh my
um,
God.
yeah. So because I wrote, the one thing I will say about the Sundown series, and this isn't a bad thing, people love it. They were well prepared.
Yes.
They knew what they needed to do. Sure, things
Yes.
went wrong, and they didn't always find everything they needed. And obviously, they were fighting an outside agent other than zombies that
Mm-hmm.
they were dealing with too. But when I went to go write a new series, I thought, well, what would it be like to just not have any of that?
On
And
the other side of
on
the
the other
coin.
side of it, yeah. So I just went completely different.
Oh my God, I cannot wait
Yeah.
to read it. I haven't gotten to read it yet, and I'm
Oh,
very excited to read it.
it's only been out
But
for what, a few months, but yeah.
just a couple of months.
Yeah.
but so like being able to see the other side and knowing that you had this series where everybody was well prepared and you did such an amazing job on the character development. I cannot wait to see what Babysitter of the Apocalypse looks like.
Thank
I'm just
you.
so excited. Um, so I want to talk about Max.
Okay.
She's more me.
Okay.
I love my children, but when I look at you, you
Yeah.
better know what the look is and you better
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So, what was her, who was she based on?
Nobody actually. The thing is with Max, what I try to imagine with someone like her is so Max was what her mother died having giving birth to
Mm-hmm.
her. So she never had a mother. All she had was Alex. She's the youngest child. So she's got the baby complex going on.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
and so then she's being raised by a man that doesn't know how to raise a baby. And so she's the one that's most followed in his footsteps just
Mm-hmm.
because that's all she knew. She literally had no other ideas other than what Alex tried to give her. But like, how was she? Alex was still a child herself, so she could only do
Yeah.
so much. And then the thing with Max is that she got pregnant as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And so her daughter, she does love her very much, but she
Mm-hmm.
raises
Very
her on
much.
her own.
Yes.
And then the responsibility though to her daughter is what drives Max's story. I don't know how far I should go into it, but that the her dedication to her daughter and to the rest of her family is kind of what drives Max's behavior.
Yes.
And she's just sarcastic, and she's actually my favorite. I love Max so much because when I was writing her, it was like writing someone just with no filter, and she
Yeah.
just didn't give a shit about anything. She
Yeah.
wanted her daughter to be safe. She wanted these things to get done, and she wanted to get to Montana. She didn't give a shit about nothing
That's it.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and she gets stuck with like other survivors who are completely inept, and she's rolling her eyes at them and just like kind of wanting them to get lost because she doesn't want
Yeah.
to take care of anybody.
Can you please just get eaten already or run
Yeah.
away?
Yeah, but when it comes to her daughter, she has tried to start giving her daughter some of the information that she has, but
Mm-hmm.
Max wasn't like Alex. She never got married. She didn't have any more
Yeah.
kids. She was by herself, and she liked it that way.
But
And
she was still in love.
she was still in love. Yes, because she was only in
So,
love once, and that
yes.
crushed her.
Yes.
But like I said, the dedication to her daughter and wanting to provide her daughter everything she possibly could. It was things that I'm sure, if you really dive into Max, are things that she probably thought about for years, but
Yeah.
because life was just life and they were just moving along, she never thought, oh, I should go find this person. But then once
Right.
the world fell apart, she's like, I really should
I
go find
need
this
to
person.
find this person.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
I and you did, because I'm not someone who likes the love story aspect inside of a zombie book, but you did that very well. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, I didn't even realize that there was a love story part of this." It
It's
just
just
hit me
simple.
after I was already through with the book. I was like, that was perfect to me. It was
I
perfect.
I'm not so yeah, there some readers really love the romance aspect. I've gotten a lot of comments about Babysitter because I have put a little bit more romance aspect, but it's all been very
Right.
positive feedback.
Right.
Everything's fade to black. You cannot put that kind of stuff into a zombie novel unless it's just a romance novel. Like that is very clear definitions that has been pounding into my brain. But I wanted Max to have someone. I really did. And then Rafe too. I wanted them both to have people that were there for just them because with the world falling apart and there's going to be less people, I didn't want them to be alone. And that's a human thing to me. I believe that, and I know I've said this like a million times, and I'm sure I've said it on other podcasts, but the thing in my belief is that if you are surviving together and you are wholly responsible or dependent upon another person, emotions are going to come into that. Like it's
Oh yeah.
very, very possible that there's going to be romance or, in this like nightmare, you're going to turn to somebody for comfort. I 100% believe
Absolutely.
that's real.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see them at their worst.
Yeah,
You see them at their absolute worst, and you
true.
smell them at their absolute worst.
True. So true.
Yes,
So true.
but kind of like marriage. But
Yeah.
but I just think that you brought all three of these kids, Max, Raph, and Alex. You brought all three of them just an amazing you gave them an amazing story. And Alex, she was my favorite mom, but I really resonated with Max because that's kind of how I was. Now, I was the oldest and I wanted to love and nurture my children like that, but I had a life where I was raising my kids by myself like Max. So
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
I need you to do this and do this and do this. It was not militant, but it was very matter of factly and to the point.
There's no reason to not have responsibilities and expectations for your children. I
Right.
100% agree with that. And I think that if Alex's kids were just slightly older, they probably would have had,
Oh
more of
yeah.
that,
Oh yeah.
but like there's a scene where the youngest falls and he
Hmm.
skins up his hands and knees, and Alex has to put the kids to safety while she handles a zombie. And when she shows up, her oldest, and they're only a couple of years, I think it's 7 and 5, the 7-year-old is doing first aid on
Yeah.
her younger sibling because she knew what her mom had done before and she had learned. And she, even though Alex wanted her kids, the difference being between Alex and Max is Alex remembered a childhood with a mom where it
Hmm.
wasn't just about prepping and it wasn't
Right.
just about survival, where Max never knew that. And
She had no
so
idea.
she
Yeah.
had no idea. So she had nothing to base anything off of. But her daughter is well-rounded and she's a wonderful
Oh
person and
yeah. And
such a good kid. So
while Alex, is a very good mother figure for Max, um, it's a whole different because you still are just siblings.
you're still just siblings. And when I was writing Alex, and again, like I said, people swore it was me that I was right. I wasn't trying to do that, but
It
like
happens.
it happens. And the nurturing, I grew up, in a generation of latchkey kids.
Yep.
And by the time I was like 10 or 11, I was watching my siblings,
Yep.
that was what we did because that's
Making
what our
dinner.
making dinner. That was our generation.
Not in the
And
microwave.
yeah, yeah. And always doing the dishes and all those things. And
Yes.
so I saw Alex as being like me. And I
Yeah.
always knew I wanted to have a family. I always knew I wanted kids. I was always a nurturer.
Hmm.
I still try to be, even though my kids don't want to hug me anymore because they're getting too old for that. But
It's a horrible time when that happens, huh?
so I did see her as someone like me who had gone through a childhood similar to me, except for, she obviously lost her mom and I have not.
Right.
So I just, yeah, as a mom, I thought about like the things that moms would go through. And another thing with Alex is that she takes on kids that aren't her own.
Yeah.
And it's something that I could see myself doing because I could never leave anyone behind, especially not
Right.
kids.
I wouldn't be able to either.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So
Now the kids, now people, other adults, yes,
other adults,
I can leave your ass behind, no
I
problem.
can take them or leave them, especially if they choose to be like risky,
I'll
right?
shoot
Like,
you in the kneecap and make you stay.
you better make sure you make yourself very valuable to me, or I'm leaving you
Yes, or
behind.
yes,
Yeah,
or you will suffer the consequences.
zombie food.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that whole I'm going to trip you so that I can run away kind of a thing.
Yes. Yeah, no, 100%. I think, I think the one thing I haven't written so much into my books, I've written a lot of human threats, but
Hmm.
I feel like I should just write more stupid humans because it's going to be the big thing, right? Is stupid humans that are
They
going to do
already
stupid
are.
things. Right. And like, but like in a zombie like
Yeah.
situation, I think in
Oh yeah.
Babysitter, I do it a little bit in the first book
Do
where
more.
I should do more. Yeah. But in the
Yeah.
first book, I did somewhere, stupid decisions causes people their lives.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really like, even if it's not zombies, I just think that that's real human behavior. Not everybody is going to know the right things to do
Well, there's so many people that wouldn't know like what to do in the event of an emergency,
in
natural
general.
disaster, or
Hmm.
yeah. And you and I both live Pacific Seaboard. Well, I'm a little bit more in, but we're on that side.
Yeah.
The natural disasters are different out here than they are back east.
Right.
And
Right.
we didn't we have a lot of heat exhaustion, heat exposure,
Mhm.
sun, at least especially in Arizona. We have a lot of that. And plus, Arizona's like the American Australia. Everything here is trying to
It's
kill
trying to
you.
kill you. Yes.
Yeah. So we can't go out at dusk. We can't go out at dawn unless we have, a flashlight, lest any coyotes or mountain lions might try and eat us. So we got to, we got to be very careful when we're planning our walks. But that is, I think, a huge deal where something were to happen, tsunami, since we're so close to the Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you might end up with oceanfront property at some point.
Exactly. And are people going to listen? Because the news is going to put it out there. And, there's those people that, the news is full of shit, which most of the time it is. But natural disaster type stuff, they usually are pretty on point.
I will say, because where I live, I'm only about an hour and a half from the coast. And I will say that every time we go to the coast, my apocalypse brain goes a little haywire whenever we drive by the signs that say you're in a tsunami warning area. I'm like, where's my fastest exit? How do I get out of here? Like,
right.
I would rather be on the beach in my car. Like if I can drive onto the beach in my car, because if the water suddenly recedes, I'm out. Like I know.
Yeah. You got a quick way out. Yeah.
Right. My apocalypse brain goes a little nutty with that kind of stuff. And also living, in the Pacific Northwest, the big talk that they always have here is that we're due for like the biggest earthquake. And, we're supposed to have we're 500 years overdue or something like that for some huge earthquake. And it's supposedly going to just destroy all the way into, where I'm at. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, great. Super excited to hear about that.
Then there's the Yellowstone volcano.
And I think Yellowstone, if Yellowstone was to blow, it would actually cause a ripple effect into Oregon, I think, because we have Mount Hood and then there's Mount St. Helens and there's another one out here. Like they just kind of.
Yeah, connect. Well, it's a super volcano. It's, if the ash isn't going to get you, you've got your own stuff that's going to get you. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't run away from it. But I still think that there would just be stupid people that are sitting in their house going, bullshit. Sitting in their chair, drinking their beer, They
deserve what they get then. Like, I don't know. I will say that during my research and writing the story that I wrote and the ideas of being separated from my family and having no means of communication and things like that, it really did make me start to think. And I started buying things like I've got life straws and I've got lots of powdered foods now that are 25, I'm starting to kind of get a little nutty.
Yeah.
Because I do worry about that. And not just, not just things that would be countrywide, but if something small happens, and I shouldn't say small because it wouldn't be small, but I live
local.
Let's say local.
Yeah.
Getting out of here would be close to impossible.
Yeah.
And, a couple of years ago, we were right in the center of forest fires. My town was not evacuated, but we were like right in the middle of a ring of different forest fires, and it was orange outside and the smoke was horrible. And I loaded up our trailer and I said, okay, like, here's all the stuff that we need to take with us, and we'll make sure we have clothes packed that we can take with us. And if we get evacuated or even the idea of evacuation, we're out. Like, because I didn't want to wait,
Why? Right. Why wait?
But because once you're stuck in a place, especially with high population, you're not going to get out. Like, it's not, you can't just climb up, you can't just get on the freeway because everybody's doing
Everybody's going that way. And that's the thing here. They can't drive here.
Well, they can't drive anywhere. Like, here's horrible too.
These people are ridiculous. So in the morning or whenever I go into work, the 10's bad anyways, because it's like accident central. You can't pass an exit without an accident. I swear to God, it's every time you turn in, the corner, there's an accident. But people are the biggest morons. You got the ones that are going super fast, the ones that are going super slow, holding up traffic. Nobody's in the correct lane. I'm in the ticket lane, bitch. Move. Why are you going 5 under?
Yeah, no.
But just there's the traffic during the day out here. That's why I'm like, nope, we're going to shelter in place for a little bit.
If it's something that you can shelter in place, but like, if you can't, that's why I thought about, with the forest fires, I really was like prepared. I typically
you definitely can't.
Yeah. So I really, I'm not the one that usually hooks up my trailer. My husband always does. And so we went through it one day and I wrote down all the instructions so that I could do it myself in case he wasn't home and I could
Yeah.
take the animals, take the kids, and we could go and he could meet us somewhere, and,
Yeah.
and these are things that I don't think I would have thought of as much if I hadn't become a post-apoc writer.
Right. Oh no, I agree. If I didn't start reading this stuff and then start writing, I definitely would never have thought about anything because I have water in my car. I have a couple days worth of food in my car just in case. And I'm not even in on the East Coast anywhere where I'll get stuck in snow.
Happen.
I don't know if I'm going to get stuck in sand,
Right?
So who knows? Who knows what I'm going to get stuck in, but I have food just in case.
Just in case.
But it's definitely something to think about. What is your next move, I guess? How many books are you having in Babysitter of the Apocalypse?
Oh geez. Well, so I wrote 6 in Sundown series, and I know that I'm one of the few authors that's like, okay, I'm done. Like everyone else is like, oh, I'll write 20 books in one series. I'm like, that's just not me. I get tired.
Yeah.
And I want something different. So I left that off at 6. I have so far committed in my head to 3 for Babysitter, but I just finished book 2. I'm in the middle of editing it. So I don't know if I'll clean it up and be done by book 3. And I'm weird about like the number of books in a series. Again, it's my own neurotic brain. I feel like they have to be in 3s. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
No, I get it. I get
Either
it.
3 or 6.
Like what is the point of a series if it's not at least 3?
Right. And so if I do 3, but I need one more, I feel like 4 is weird. And so then I'm like, well, 5 is still straight. So I got to go to 6. So I'm hoping that my overall plan ends up being just the 3. My goal is to go back to the Duncans. I'm going to do it more of a dystopian though. I'm going to hop forward in the years and show and more focused on the teenagers that are now adults and how
Easton, he was my fave.
I love him.
I do too.
He just was such a darling boy who was just so desperate for what Alex had to give him.
And he really came into it. He really came into his own. He did.
He really did.
You did so well. You just did every
him.
single character. Yeah. Every single character. You could tell you loved every single character.
I loved every single one of them. There wasn't, obviously I didn't love the bad guys, but I loved making them bad guys. Like it was fun to really, I did get questions and sometimes like people are like, are you okay? Like, so, I
mind your business.
Yeah, I'm fine. But I want to go back to the Duncans for a few reasons. Number one, because it's my first story, and I think there's a lot more to it that I could go into. Number 2, I am if I'm anything, I want to please my readers, right? And they were very sad for me to stop the series. I don't think I've had anybody be like, "Oh, that was perfect. Don't write anymore." No, I have not had one person say that. So
I don't think any reader has ever said that.
No, I haven't gotten any of that. People were, and I did kind of end it roughly. I won't even talk about that because that'd be a huge spoiler. But the human connection thing is a big deal to me. So I think that people really did connect with the characters of the Duncans, and I think people would love to see what happened to the kids. Like
the whole group. That whole group was amazing. I guess, how do you feel about fan fiction? If another author were to pick up in your universe?
I don't know. Like if somebody wrote something and it was from a different character perspective, but they wrote into my universe, I think I'd be fine with that. Don't touch my characters. They're my people.
Nobody can write them like you can.
Yeah. But I just think that it would, because the thing is, okay, so here's a funny aspect of this conversation. I just now for the first time am going into the foray of co-writing. I've never co-written ever because I just don't know the process.
And I think that would be hard.
It is hard. I will say it's hard. I'm writing with someone that I'm very good friends with. It's not going to be, it is going to be post-apoc, but it's not zombie. And it's not obviously within any universe I've written in, but we are sharing characters, right? So we're both writing the same characters, and it is rough trying to make the same, like make decisions together to decide what we want these characters to do and what we want them to be. And she might make decisions that I don't agree with, but like, I'm not going to make her change her mind, you know, because we're co-writing. So I would never want someone to write in my universe and try to write a Duncan. That would not be acceptable in my frame of mind. But if somebody ever wanted to do a Sundown series, but it's different people and they're cut and they meet him in Montana or something, I don't know. I guess I'd be open to that. That'd be kind of cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Because I mean, there was somebody had asked me that question when I was on a podcast, and I was like, yeah, no, I really wouldn't mind if somebody wrote in my universe. I actually think that that's a pretty cool idea. I would be honored.
I mean, it's on. Yeah, it's a huge honor.
Definitely,
obviously.
It's an honor.
Yeah, it's a huge honor. I mean, I'm also a part of a group that I'm not going to give any the details, but we're going to start writing books in a shared universe.
Sweet.
And so we're all writing our own characters,
right? All
dealing with the same event, but in different places completely. And so this, again, I'm just doing things I've never done before. I went to a conference last year, and Jonathan Mayberry, who's one of my very favorite authors.
I love Jonathan Mayberry.
I love him so much. But he did a talk, and one of the things he talked about was to do things that you've never done before so that you can say you did them. And he talked about Marvel coming to him and asking him to write the characters for Black Panther that was actually just in the last Black Panther movie. And he said, you know, if Marvel had come to me and I just didn't want to do it because I'd never tried it, that's Marvel. Who's going to say no to Marvel? Like,
right.
Of course,
why
would figure it out?
Yes.
And so this year, my goal is to try things that I've never tried before. So I'm doing co-writing and I'm doing shared universe. So
yeah, I do that all the time because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not, but you know, that's how I'm living.
Yeah, I mean, I figure I'll do this co-writing thing, and then if some big famous author comes to me and is like, "Hey, you want to do?" Yes, I do.
Yes,
so
I will.
I will have had some experience with it, and I'll feel more confident. So
I think a lot of people don't want to do stuff that's outside their comfort zone just because it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, I was approached also. I guess some other things I'm doing is to write some novellas that are horror, and see. I don't know, you've read my series. I've never thought my series was horror, but turns out zombies doesn't matter how you're writing it. Those are horror.
Yeah,
and so,
they're horror.
And so I now have kind of gotten lumped into that. And I was asked to, you know, if I wanted to write, you know, a couple of like novellas, but not zombie. And so I'm working on some of those. They're going to be based on, you know, famous characters that are open source now. And so it's going to be kind of fun. They're going to be just short little stories. So when those come out, you know, I'll let people know. But it's going to be different. Like I love true crime and serial killer stuff, so I can figure it out.
We'll have to do a TBA release party for you when that happens.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Have you ever considered genre jumping? I
have another pen name. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have genre jumped. So here's what's funny. I love to write apocalypse stuff. I don't read a ton of it. I mean, I do. I read it definitely for like, you know, research. I've read your stuff and I read like my friends, especially, but what I really read a ton of is romance. A ton. I'm ridiculous.
Aww.
I love the stupid, it's never going to happen romance kind of stuff. That's just, you know, and it's a big seller right now. Super spicy stuff is so I have another pen name that I don't associate with this pen name, so I won't say what it is. But okay. I do have a few books out under a different pen name.
We'll have to get you some kind of weird little suit and have you come back on a different show or something.
Do the silhouette and change my voice, you know?
We're doing it. Voice has been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, because those books make me look not innocent. And so... But I just wanted to again.
She really is a good girl.
I am a good girl, I swear. I'm happily married. I've been happily married for 16 years. So,
which is why we have the stories.
Hey, I think that if you enjoy it, write it. Like I just don't, you know.
Right. Yes.
And the romance genre is super difficult. I have gotten really good reviews on my books, but I don't like advertise and stuff because, it's harder to advertise that kind of stuff without getting kicked off of platforms. And
Yes.
so I've been really careful with that. I need to test some more stuff out, and it's more new. I've been doing, zombies for 7 years. So
Right.
I've built a readership there and a following, and I've written a lot of books there where I haven't on the other side, but it is a different monster. I mean, it's fun, but the competition is just
Fierce.
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, you're up against 50 Shades. I mean,
right. And people still have there's still to an extent a skewing of believing that indie authors is crap, and it's not,
Yeah.
so they, people have a lot of prejudices when it comes to that. If it's not Oprah's next pick or Reese Witherspoon's book club pick, they're like, oh, I'm not going to read it. Well, that's your choice, I guess, but you're missing out. There's a lot of great stuff. So
have you tried getting into like Books A Million or anything like that?
I don't even know what that is. What is that? Books A Million?
Sorry. Books A Million is a bookstore like Barnes and Noble, based mainly on the East Coast. I think the closest one to us would be Texas.
No, I've never tried. I've never tried any of that stuff.
Books A Million and Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble's a little bit more intense, but Books A Million is just literally an application and send them a book.
Oh, no.
I'm working on it.
I'll have to look at that.
So yeah, I'll send you, I'll forward you the.
Let me know. I will say I end up underneath a rock a lot of the times. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on within the author community or, with new services or new vendors and this and that. And I don't even notice any of it happening because I just am head down writing. I try to write as much as possible. I do have a full-time job and I've got 3 kids and not complaints at all. My life is great. But I love to write. And so that's just what I want to do. I hate editing. I hate marketing. I hate all the shit that comes with it. I just want to write. That's all I want.
Just let me write my books.
Yeah, just let me write my books.
That's why I went with Angry Eagle Publishing, because she does some marketing. She's like, but you got to market yourself. I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it.
Hey, I use Angry Eagle for my editing. So
yeah, that'll be me soon.
and it's, the nice thing is about our community is that as you get to know people and you get to know what like services other people either offer or have used, it's easy to find the things that you need. Oh, yeah. When I started publishing in 2017, it was actually on a complete whim. I was at a birthday party for my best friend. It was her 40th birthday party. Her neighbor is an indie author. He's a co-writer with his twin brother. And he happened to be at the party and told me about self-publishing. I wouldn't have known anything if he hadn't told me how easy it was.
That's amazing. And that was something when I was growing up, I was like, I'm never going to get published. That was kind of why I pushed it to the background. And
me too. No,
I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to ever do this. I would love to. It was on my bucket list, that list that you're like, I have this list of shit I want to do, but I'll never get it done. Like Italy, going to Italy. I'm never going there.
Hey, you might.
It's on the list. Who knows? I got published. So, I mean, that whole list, that just blew that whole list up, Yeah. So I had it on the list, and I was in with Jack and all them guys, and I was like doing interviews, and you were one of my first couple interviews in the summer a couple years ago, and it was so funny because I ended up getting a hold of Dee, like, hey, I kind of wrote something. Can you read the first chapter and tell me? And she's like, yeah, I'll read it over. And, she made a couple of edits. She's like, I would just change these couple things. But yeah, I love your voice in this. I love the story. And I was like, oh, would you publish me? She goes, finish the book. And I will.
Finish it. She's like, the hardest part.
One chapter isn't going to help me. I was like,
no, it's true. I mean, like that's our first job, right? Finish the book. Yeah, it's hard.
Book. Yeah.
You gotta get the words.
And at least sound like you can string a sentence together.
There's a lot of tools that'll help you with that. Like, I use Pro Writing Aid. Yeah, Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a time where they're like, we don't think this is the word you meant. I'm like, you're right. That wasn't the word.
You're right. There's an extra E, and I don't even know where the hell that came from because it's not near any letters.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of tools out there now, and I was a lot like you, where I grew up doing all the journalism things and the newsletters. I thought I was going to go to college and be a writer, but back then you only had the option of trad publishing, and
Yes.
all you heard about was how horrible it was, and you couldn't make
You gotta
money.
have, you gotta have an agent for even a publisher to look at you, and the agents are crap. And I'm just like, oh my God, no, thank you.
So
I'll just go in the military and have children. Didn't do the military, but I had the kids.
I had the kids. I just have worked in business my whole life. And I mean, my goal is my youngest will be entering high school this next year. And that gives us 4 more years until all kids are graduated out of high school. And my husband and I want to go live a nomad lifestyle.
We're RVing too.
Are you going to do that? So we're actually going to do a boat. That is our goal. Is a boat.
We're doing the RV. We're land dwellers. We don't do the water.
I tried to convince him, but I love to scuba dive and all those things. So makes sense to be on the water.
We don't know everything that's down there, woman. You're gonna get eaten by a kraken or something.
That'll be a story. I give you rights to that story right now.
Yes, you heard it. You heard it.
Kraken,
I did it.
Write the story. But so I eventually figure when we get to that life, I'll just write, and that's
right.
I finally will have gotten to the life that I want.
Yeah, and here I am. We're probably gonna be getting a RV here in the next year or two, and I'm like, I'm hoping closer than 1 year, but I'm sitting here and I'm taking medical billing and coding classes so I can work from the RV and write.
That's the way that a lot of Americans are going these days, and I don't begrudge anybody. I think that it's a great idea.
I would, and then we can pick up the grandson, take him for the summer, and then, then drop him off with his mom and be like, school time, your time.
Hey, I will say, just as a personal thing, my grandparents went into full-time RVing, I think about the time I was 13, 14. And my best memories are during that time.
Yep.
Like, that's my absolute best memories.
We want to be able to go to a bunch of different places or post up at families' yards and stuff. And I was always working. I had no time to go see anything in this country. So I'm gonna go, damn it. I'm gonna go.
Sounds fabulous. That sounds fantastic.
It does.
That's good.
So where can people find you?
So I'm most active on Facebook. So if you're trying to find me on Facebook at my author page. Just Courtney Konstantin author, I think is how you find me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
My website is courtneykonstantin.com. And
which is scrolling below. It's scrolling below,
which is so cool. And then all of my books are in Kindle Unlimited, so they're on Amazon, and everything is in Audible as well. And Babysitter the Apocalyptic will be out. Yeah, we'll be out Audible next month. So
because I have Audible credits and I need new books. I've went through everybody for the most part, and so I did not know that. That's gonna be great. Yes, and it is Courtney Konstantin author.
Thank you. I was like trying to picture it in my head. I'm like, oh God.
I know. I can never. I'm like, is it JL Foulk author or author JL Foulk? I don't remember.
I don't remember what I did. But find me on my page and come chat. So
and she answers because she talks to me.
I do try. I do have a reader group, which you can find the link on my author page. I try to talk to everybody that talks to me. I mean, the problem is nowadays though on Facebook, and I will preface this, like, I feel bad if I miss your meetings, all the spammers. Oh my God. And so my inbox on my author page is just full of spam, and I feel bad if I miss people's real messages. Yeah. So it's better to comment on like photos and stuff if you're trying to get a hold of
Written
me.
Undead. She's also on the group Written Undead.
I'm in there. So I'm doing all your birthday posts. So Come collect your
Definitely.
birthday.
I gotta make sure that I gave you my birthday because
You
I
need to
don't
make sure you
think.
filled out my form, because if
Yeah,
you didn't, I'm going to yell
I
at you like I
didn't.
yelled at Jack.
I know I saw. That's why I don't want to get yelled at. So, thank you for coming on the show,
Oh, well,
Courtney.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I adore you. So thank you
Oh,
for
thank
being here
you.
on As the World Burns. Until next time, we will see you later. Say bye, Courtney.
Bye.